Hey, what's going on, guys? Petey here. So today we're going to be talking about light tanks versus medium tanks, and these stats are specifically with tanker class enabled. So it might be a little different if you guys are running airman or cannoneer, but this is just strictly for tanker. So first off, we have our officers that we're going to be talking about. We have Hines. He's going to be applicable to both of them since he's all tanks. And then next we'll have the light tank officer, and we're going to push that into our light tanks. So looking at our light tanks, I just want to explain how this works, how I did the math on this. So with speed, this speed could change. So this is a specific map that I have selected that's like a higher speed bonus. So what you need to do is you need to compare this guy's speed versus the medium tank speed, and that's how you can tell like how much big of a difference it is. Because this speed could be different based on the map, but just the map I'm on right now, this is the values I pulled and how the math works out. So the speed for these guys, 7.05, 8.73 with forced march. They get plus 158 attack versus rockets, M101s, M40s against whirlies. They get plus 50% attack range, and then plus 700 defense versus rockets, M101s, and M40s, which is a lot, but you start facing M101s, it really helps against M101s, but versus M40s or rockets, it's not going to help too much. They just do so much damage that your light tanks will die very quickly. The cost for these, it takes 4 minutes 22 seconds to make one. It's 500 fortune, 240 iron, and then all the stats you can see on the right. Versus infantry versus vehicle, almost 1,000. Versus armor is 446. Buildings 556, and then their HP is 6,900. So pretty good stats for these guys. This is completely maxed, meaning you have all the officers, all the battlefield tech, and then all of the tanker bonuses as well. So moving into medium tanks, we have the officers first. You have George S. Patton, and you have Bernard. So these guys came into play as well as Hines at the beginning of the video. He is also included in these stats. But for medium tanks, you have two separate officers. So there's our medium tank, level 1, and here's the stat breakdown. So we have a little bit less speed here, 604 and then 664 with forced march. You get a little less bonus to rockets, M101s for attack, plus 67. You still get the attack range buff, and then you get plus 1500 defense versus M101s. So that'll help you out significantly early game. You'd have nearly 3,000 defense versus M101s early game. If you're going against rockets, the new M1931s or M40s, you'll get a plus 500 defense bonus. But I think it'll still stay the same, that you are going to be kind of hurting. By the time that those come out, you should be in Tiger Tech at that point. So that defense bonus is a little bit pointless to me. But looking at cost for munitions, you have 5 minutes 50 seconds to make one, 907 fortune, 438 iron. So they're significantly more expensive. They're almost double the price of light tanks. And then if you look at the bonuses, you have about 2/3 of what the light tank has versus infantry and vehicle, but you have significantly more in terms of armor, almost double versus armor here. And then you have a little bit more versus building. You have higher HP and a little bit higher defense too. So an overall versus, I would say the light tanks are very good, like across the board. I'm going to click between these slides here and kind of compare stats for myself while I'm talking. They're really fast. They're really quick to make. They're about half the cost. The only thing they lack on is versus armor, which the point could be made that medium tanks are a lot better for that. Like I'm looking at it, in light tanks are 446 versus armor. Medium tanks are 778, so almost double. Like that's a lot of versus armor damage, and you got to think about early game what you're going to be fighting. If you're going to be fighting other light tanks or other medium tanks, or if you're going to be fighting M101s, they're really made these medium tanks are really made to kill off M101s because the big defense bonus. So, I mean, looking at both of these side by side, I kind of, I think it's gonna depend on who you're fighting. Like, if you're gonna fight somebody and you know they're going M101s, then the Sherman would be the best thing to do, the medium tank. But if you're gonna fight against somebody and you know they're going light tanks, well, then the Sherman would be the best one to do again. um, but if you're just trying to move around the field really fast and save money, light tanks are still pretty good here. I mean, coming in early game, spending 1,000 fortune uh, per tank, that's quite a bit of cash. And if you're gonna roll around with like 26 of these, that's 26k, and that's a lot of money early game. Like depending on what you're trying to go. If you're just trying to go tanker and get to level 8 city and start making tigers, it's not too bad. But if you're trying to be like airman, go to level 10 city, or trying to get out, I don't know. I think this one depends. These stats were a little interesting because I didn't think light tanks would have so much, like, have so much infantry and vehicle bonus. Like, that'll help out quite a bit with taking out rebels and stuff. It won't help out really at all fighting other players. Um, I don't know. This one's a tough one. This one is, I think it's just going to be based on what you guys feel like you should do. You want to be a little bit slower and have harder hitting, more expensive tanks early, or do you just want to get done with it, get light tanks out, and then push on? I think the medium tank, what it is it's like a bridge between early to mid game, and it's kind of like a hinge point. Like, if you build a bunch of Shermans, you're not just gonna, as soon as you get to M40s or whatever, you're not just gonna go delete them. Like, they're still worth a lot of money. So if you had 26 of them and then you get to that next tech, you'd kind of add your next tech to them and slowly phase these out, hopefully by them dying in battle or maybe just selling a couple off at a time. But with light tanks, I would just, if I had like 15 light tanks, I would either go suicide them or just delete them and use the steel and then go into whatever I'm making next. So I don't know. I'm gonna leave this one up to you. This one is a really close one, and I don't know. I think at the end of the day here, the best to do is to go medium tank. It's the better unit, and the cost really isn't too much. I think it's the better unit here, but if you're trying to just go for a different tech or rush a different tech, I think the light tanks will do what you need them to do, and you won't be hindered by not using the mediums. So yeah, that's all I got for this video, guys. Thanks for tuning in and checking it out. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time. BD out.